Welcome to the Nintendo PowerZone. What up, guys? It's your boy, Nice1983, and we have a brand new unboxing video for you guys today, and I'm excited about this one. And I know what you're thinking, it's a Pixel Pal, but it looks like PDP is finally moving in a forward direction with the Pixel Pals line. So what we have here on the table is the new Pixel Pals 8-bit edition Mario. So Pixel Pals coming out with a brand new wave. I guess this would be wave 3, and guys, this isn't a wave of variants. This isn't a bunch of recolored figures from wave 1. I was half skeptical last time, thinking that they might release a clear edition of the Mario Pixel Pal and call it like Starman Mario or something lame, but I was wrong. They came back hard with a new wave of figures, even if it is a little bit misleading in the name. So this is called the 8-bit edition. Now let's get something perfectly clear. PDP, the first wave of figures you released were all done in an 8-bit style, minus the Fallout figure. So like I said, I may have indicated that it was a 16-bit style in my first review for the PDP Pixel Pals, but I was wrong. I'm here to rectify that now. But again, I think this name is a little misleading. They could have just called it like Original Edition, but it is what it is. So let's go ahead and break down this box now. So up in the right hand corner, you have the original Super Mario Bros. Logo. Right under that, you see the Mario figure in the window display, and it looks freaking epic. To the right of that, you have the Pixel Pals logo. Over to the left of that, you have the word Mario. Then under that, you have your age bracket. It's for 14 and up. Then you have the PDP logo. Right in the center of the box at the bottom, you have the official Nintendo seal of quality. And over to the left of that, you have a holographic sticker saying that this is the 8-bit edition and this is the 9th figure in this line of Pixel Pals. So very cool front of the box. Let's go ahead and turn this thing over and take a look at the side now. Not much different going on here that we haven't seen in another Pixel Pal figure. Of course, you have the Pixel Pals logo. Under that, the Super Mario Bros. Logo, the words "I light up" in the word bubble, and a picture of Mario off and Mario on. So let's go ahead, let's get to the back of the box now. Alright guys, so here's the back of the box. These are actually my favorite parts of these boxes because you get the little blurb. But before we get to the blurb, let's just go ahead and analyze the box. Of course, you have the Pixel Pals logo again. To the right of that, Super Mario Bros. Under that, you have this great picture of classic 8-bit Mario just jumping. Of course, you have your collect them all, little blurb, and then your PDP logo. Again, it tells you at the bottom of the box that this does not include the 2 AAA batteries that are required to light this thing up. Again, we know my feelings on that, and we'll go ahead and reiterate those feelings when we get to score time. But for now, let's just move on. This is the 9th figure in this wave again, so it's time to go ahead and read this blurb. Fearless, just, and able to transform into multiple powerful forms, Mario is the noble hero of the Mushroom Kingdom. Always willing to leap into action, mustache and all, Mario has continued to grow from his humble origins. Mario's unrivaled courage and cheerful attitude make him the undisputed fan favorite. So this is a cool little blurb. It is not the same blurb that we had on the back of the Super Mario Bros. 3 Pixel Pal. So finally, we got some new text on a Mario figure. PDP, this is the way you should have gone. You should not have done a variant so quickly. If you had released these guys and then the variants for wave 3, I think I would have been a little bit more friendly in my review score of the last video, but that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and turn the figure over one more time and take a look at that side of the box before we unbox this thing. Alright, so here's the last side of the box, guys. Of course, you see the Pixel Pals logo big, bold along the side of the box. You see the words "I light up," and it looks like it's being said by Mario. Unfortunately, this figure looks a little bit more flat, so it's harder to really get that angle that PDP was going for this window display, but that's alright. Under that, you have the word Mario again, and I just love the colors of these boxes right here. Just this blue really recreates that feeling of the blue background in the original Mario Bros. Game. So super excited, but guys, now it's time to unbox this thing, so don't go anywhere. Alright, so we remove Mario from his box prison and just take a look at it, guys. This everything is completely on point. I am ecstatic by the design of this figure. It looks incredible. The colors are completely on point. The size feels right, and I really miss looking at Mario in this color scheme. The reds and the browns. I mean, now we have Mario in the reds, the blues with the white gloves, but this is the way that I grew up. This is the Mario that I grew up on, and I love that. Love this, and I really wish PDP had released this figure in Wave 2 and not went ahead and done a Wave 2 of nothing but variants. It's a shame because PDP may have closed out the door on the magic that they had with this wave of figures. The Pixel Pal line is just a brilliant idea from start to finish. It's a perfect idea, especially when we live in an era where retro games are applauded, and there is this huge callback for retro style games. Even though nothing really beats the classics, I think Shovel Knight is the best game to kind of recreate that magic of the original 8-bit stylings of video games. But the Pixel Pal line was something that was a great idea. I mean, everybody's doing it. Even Jakks Pacific has an 8-bit wave of figures, but this right here is the way to go. I just love it. It looks so damn good. Like I said, guys, I'm so sorry for PDP right now, because they may have lost a lot of people who would collect these because of their desire to release variant figures right off the bat. They may have cost themselves. I'm in it for the long haul, though. I really do like Pixel Pals, but like I said, if I had seen a third version of the Super Mario Bros. 3 Mario before seeing any other styles of the figures, I would have been out too. And that's a shame, guys. It really is. Because if you watch this channel, you know that I collect a lot of Nintendo things. To think that I may have been out of the Pixel Pals, that's a scary thought for a company like PDP, because I'm the diehard. I'm the guy that they're trying to sell this to, and they almost lost me. All it would have taken was for them to release one more version of that 8-bit Mario from Super Mario Bros. 3, and I would have been out. Unless it was some type of power-up costume from that game, I would have been completely out, and that would have been it for me in Pixel Pals. Like I said, I personally believe that's a shame, because I'm the diehard, and I want to collect the Pixel Pals. But they need to keep doing more stuff like this. But guys, let's go ahead and turn the figure over and just take a look at it from all other angles. As you guys know, there are no details on the side of these figures, so there's no need to really comment on it. Alright, so here's the back of the figure, and we have things that are standard to the Pixel Pals line. There's not a lot of detail going on here, and we should be used to that by now. But I do want to note that there are some changes to this. So the back of the cap where you put the batteries is different than on the other Pixel Pals. Typically Pixel Pals open up from the side and then you insert the batteries, but this one is coming in, the latch is at the bottom. Not a big change, it's probably only changed because it made more sense for the figure, because this is a different design, but it's just something I want to make note of. Of course, you have Pixel Pals embossed on the back of that cap. You have the sticker that says Super Mario Bros, PDP, and all that other good stuff. And right under that, you have PDP embossed on the cap. So, not a lot of detail here, but we should be used to that by now. The one complaint that I do have is that these things still require batteries. PDP has not smartened up and given us the option for some sort of micro USB. At this point, this is textbook, and we all know that I did say I was going to score these figures lower based on the fact that they didn't have an option for micro USB. It doesn't even need to be the only option. I don't mind if these things require batteries, but I would at least appreciate the option to plug these in with a micro USB. Alright, you know what time it is. It's comparison time, guys. And check it out. What we have on the table is the Wave 1 Super Mario Bros. 3 Pixel Pal standing next to the Wave 3 8-bit edition Mario Pixel Pal, and I just love how different these two figures are. It really reminds me of how different, you know, Super Mario was from the original game to the third game. Nintendo got so much better at, you know, making pixel art by that time, and it's incredible to see them standing side by side. They both look really, really good. I'm very happy to have these two figures in my collection, but let's go ahead and break down the differences. Clearly, the Wave 1 figure, he's already ingested a super mushroom, so he's bigger, and it makes sense. Take a look. If you look at these two Pixel Pals, they are a different size. The Mario from Super Mario Bros. Is shorter than the Super Mario Bros. 3 Mario. I mean, there's also the whole thing with the pose where the Wave 1 figure is jumping, and you know, the Wave 3 figure is just standing pretty stationary. Another key difference between these two figures is the outline or the border. It's much more pronounced on the Super Mario Bros. 3 figure than it is on the Super Mario Bros. Figure. Now, it's not really a big deal. I think it makes them both stand out in a way that is unique and independent of the other. I think it looks really good. I also like the fact that the colors are different. The Mario 1 Mario is a lot more muted than the Mario Bros. 3 Mario. The colors just pop a little bit better on the Super Mario Bros. 3 Mario, and that, again, that's just the nature of how these characters were designed back in the day. By the time Nintendo started making Super Mario Bros. 3, they had become much more proficient in pixel art, and you see the differences right here, and it's something to behold. You gotta really appreciate how good Nintendo got at making games in this era, and they did it in a relatively quick fashion. This was old hardware by this point, and they had become extraordinarily proficient at utilizing it and making sure that they made the best looking games. Even back then, this is something that Nintendo still does to this day. They make games on their consoles that look better than what any third party could ever do on their console. Alright, continuing on with comparison time, take a look at this, guys. I went ahead and pulled out the Fire Mario from Wave 2. So we have all the Mario figures from all three of the waves, and just take a look at them. They all look pretty good. The one that I am a little sore about is the Fire Mario. I still am not a fan of the color scheme when these figures are turned off, and that really comes down to the fact that I feel like you lose a lot of the detail that make the Wave 1 figure stand out. So what I'm really going to be looking at in the near future is seeing if PDP releases a variant figure of this Mario, and not the Luigi that we're going to cover later, but more of a Fire Mario color scheme, because I'm a little concerned about the loss of detail. Now, with, you know, Fire Mario from Super Mario Bros., the colors are red and white. Shouldn't be too bad as far as transitioning that. Hopefully that looks really good. We're going to see a little bit of that when we review Luigi later on, though. Alright guys, let's take a look at the functionality of this Pixel Pal. Lights are off, and it looks really, really good. Now, I do have a little bit of an issue. I feel like the peaches are a little muted when this figure is lit, not as pronounced as they are on the Wave 1 figure. It's just the thing. I don't know what quality of material they're using to make these guys light up, but there is a little bit of a color loss. It doesn't pop as much as that Wave 1 figure did, but it still looks damn good. And to this day, I am still utterly impressed by the brightness of the Pixel Pals. I don't understand how they can make figures this bright. It makes them completely stand out amongst the Paladone Pac-Man figure and the 8-bit question block. They just do a good job. They make these things look great. The only drawback is that they require batteries, which, you know, they'll die quickly because these things only have about a 20-hour battery life, and it's not even really 20 hours because I left mine on all night, slept for about 7 hours, and I noticed a lot of dimming with the, you know, the light. So the battery life on these things is horrendous. PDP, listen, add micro USBs to these figures. Please, I implore you, add micro USB so that this is not an issue. But alright guys, let's go ahead and let's move on, because I want to show off the functionality and do a little bit more comparison time. Alright, check it out. So Mario from the Wave 1 is back on the table. Lights are still off. And take a look. Like I said, this is where you see the difference in the coloring. Again, I do think that on the Wave 3 figure, the colors look muted when this figure is lit. And that's a shame because look at how good the Wave 1 figure is by comparison. I don't know what the difference here is. Maybe it's a quality issue, maybe they're trying to use cheaper material, or maybe they're just trying too hard to be faithful to the original color style for this version of Mario. But for some reason, when it's lit, it doesn't look quite as good. It still looks good, but it doesn't stand out as much when you have it next to the Wave 1 figure. So take a look, guys. Here it is. All three waves standing side by side. And the wave that looks the best is Wave 2. And that's just the colors. They look a lot better when they're lit up. When the lights are on though, they don't look quite as good, and that's where we start to see issues. But they look good. And again, I still really like all three of these Pixel Pals. It is a shame though that there are variants when there are only 3 waves deep with these guys. Alright guys, but let's keep on going with comparison time because there's a few more things that I want to show off. Alright, so take a look at the table. This is awesome. So, of course, the Super Mario Bros. 30th anniversary was in 2015, and there were a couple figures released that year that really stood out in my opinion. So, first we have the Jakks Pacific 8-bit Mario minifig, and it looks really good. They did a pretty good job of recreating that 8-bit style. Over to the far right, you have the 8-bit Super Mario Bros. 30th anniversary amiibo, and that looks incredible. Something that the Pixel Pal and the Jakks Pacific figure didn't attempt to do was a full pixelated 3D model. Both of these figures, the Jakks Pacific and the Pixel Pal, they only look good when you're looking at them from the front. When you start turning these figures around, you lose all that incredible detail that the amiibo has. The amiibo looks like Mario from a full 360 degrees, and it just looks incredible. I really wish that the other companies were trying, but it makes sense for Nintendo to release an amiibo that truly stands out because it's more important that they sell an amiibo than PDP or Jakks Pacific sells these kind of toys. Both of them, they have other projects that they make more money off of than the Nintendo line, but would have been nice to see them use the same level of dedication that Nintendo did. That being said, they're not bad figures. They still are really awesome, and I'm very happy that they're part of my collection because they still look great. It's just when you compare it to that amiibo, they don't look quite as good. Alright, so it is score time. My favorite time. Why? Because I get to tell you whether or not something is worth your hard-earned money. And guys, you know the criteria. But before we do that, I just want to make sure I state that I'm really happy that PDP is back on the right track with the Pixel Pals line. Unfortunately, it may or may not be too late. They have lost some of the magic that made these figures really stand out. Now, the plus side is that the time between Wave 2 and Wave 3 was only about a month, so it may not hurt them too much, but the damage may already be done. That being said, let's just go ahead and dive into how I feel about these figures, starting with the appearance. This Mario looks incredible. It is a beautiful callback to the original Mario game that I played when I was 6 years old. I'm so happy to see this figure get some representation. I love it. It looks great. Now, this has the same flaws as all the other Pixel Pals where it only looks good from one angle. You can only look at it straight on. You start to turn it, you lose all the detail, but that being said, you did a great job of recreating that detail. Now, there is an issue here. They spent a lot of time getting the colors 100% on point. But the issue here is that those colors don't transition well when you light up the figure and turn off the lights. It looks a little bit more muted. It is what it is. I applaud them for trying, but it might have been better for them if they had just gone a little bit off the color key, so that when this figure is lit, that the colors look better. So guys, for its appearance, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 9. Moving on to the functionality of the Pixel Pal, these are where I have the most issues. Pixel Pals are supposed to have a 20-hour battery life. To be honest, it's more like 8 hours tops. And because there is no option for micro USB, I am always going to dock the Pixel Pals line. Until that is rectified, I'm always going to give them 1 point lower than I would have given them had they had that option. And that's a shame too, because these figures, when they're turned on, they are bright. They are surprisingly bright for how small they are. These things are about 5 inches tall, and they produce a lot of great light. Unfortunately though, it's tied to battery life, and that is unacceptable. If these figures were rechargeable or could be plugged in with micro USB, it would be way better. But PDP has no interest in doing that. And I don't understand why not, because they already make products that require micro USB. So I feel like it would be like a no-brainer for them to add that, but they haven't chose to. So I would have given this figure a 10 for functionality had it been given micro USB. Without it though, I'm gonna dock it, so the functionality gets an 8. So guys, we gave it a 9 for its appearance, we give it an 8 for its functionality. Final score gets an 8.5, and it gets our official Nintendo PowerZone seal of quality. PDP really got back on track by releasing a new style of figure in the Pixel Pals line, and that really helps them out, because the variant figures of Wave 2 really hurt my soul. It just wasn't a good idea. It's a shame that they went that route so early in the Pixel Pals line, but looks like they're going to go ahead and try to rectify that. Now, if Wave 4 contains variants of this figure or the Luigi figure, there are going to be some major issues that I might just have to bow out of collecting Pixel Pals. And like I said, that's a shame, because I'm the diehard. I'm the guy that they're trying to sell these things to. And if I stop buying it, I can only imagine people who aren't as committed to, collecting these awesome retro style toys. I can see other people bowing out, and I wouldn't blame them at all. Alright guys, thank you guys so much for watching, but before I let you go, it's time for me to throw out these social media links. You can hit me up on Twitter at Nice1983, or the official Nintendo PowerZone Twitter at NPowerZone. You can email me at nice1983@gmail.com. Hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/Nintendo PowerZone. If you're a fan of the Nintendo PowerZone podcast, you can always download new episodes on iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher Radio. And don't forget guys, every Wednesday here on YouTube, youtube.com/user/thearticle, THAARTICLE. You can always watch a brand new unboxing video every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and watch out for Amiibo Hunters on the prowl. Deuces!